So already we discussed about WebDriver. So WebDriver is a latest Selenium component. It is very fast and it overcomes all the drawbacks of Selenium RC. And it is first developed by Google, and then so they spoke to ThoughtWorks and merged with the Selenium RC. They prepared a Selenium remote control plus WebDriver both and made it as a Selenium WebDriver. And first version is Selenium 2.0. That's the first version of Selenium WebDriver. Now, WebDriver is a collection of language-specific bindings to drive the browser. So what is meant by that is every browser has WebDriver APIs that are developed in different languages, and those APIs will drive your application. That's what WebDriver meaning. And why WebDriver we need to use is WebDriver is a very strong and powerful functional test tool because it supports web application testing only, and Windows based application testing it doesn't support. And another point is it's an open source tool. So reasons why Selenium we need to use is Selenium is an open source tool. No need to pay anything for using that. And Selenium is going to support multiple browsers. All the latest browsers it supports. Google Chrome, Firefox, Safari, Opera, Microsoft Edge, Internet Explorer. All these browsers are supported by Selenium, and you can run your test cases. Selenium supports multiple programming languages. Multiple programming languages means like Java, Python, JavaScript, Ruby, C Sharp. All these programming languages you can use to write your test cases. But at least one programming language is mandatory for WebDriver. And another thing is Selenium supports different operating systems. If you write a test case in the Windows operating system, same test case you can run on Mac and on Linux machines also. And this is another advantage is built-in framework support is there. Like every programming language, one unit testing framework is already available in the Selenium tool. Like for Java, you have a JUnit and TestNG features available. For C Sharp, NUnit framework. For Ruby, Test Unit framework. For different programming languages, we can use different frameworks we can use. So that's the advantage with this Selenium WebDriver. And even you can customize your framework also. That also supported by Selenium. So that's the advantage why we need to use this Selenium. And also Selenium uses its own object identification mechanism to recognize the elements. So CSS, XPath, all this we discussed already, right? So this is the reasons why we need to use Selenium. And Selenium becoming very popular. And what is the difference between WebDriver and Selenium remote control? So WebDriver is very fast because of its simple architecture. RC is very slow because of its complicated architecture. And we have seen the RC architecture and WebDriver architecture. So there is no server here. WebDriver talks to the browser directly, and RC needs the help of RC server in order to talk with the browser. WebDriver API is more concise, and RC APIs are duplicate and confusing. For same task, 2-3 methods they provided, but WebDriver is not like that. Only single method they provided. In the RC for click, they will provided so many click and wait to mouse at so many methods they provided. and you will get confusion which one to use, when to use each method. But that confusion you don't need in the WebDriver, because only one method, that's it, for each task. And WebDriver supports HTML unit browser, and RC doesn't support HTML unit browser. And Microsoft Edge browser also WebDriver supports, but RC doesn't support. And WebDriver supports mobile application testing. Now it is separated from WebDriver. Now initially they created a Android driver and iOS driver, something like that. But now it's separated. But it was supporting, and they given to Appium tool to do mobile application testing. And RC doesn't support mobile application testing. So not at all going to support this remote control. That's why it's deprecated this tool. Nobody uses now this tool. If old test cases are there, they can run their test case using this tool. WebDriver supports multiple programming languages like Java, Ruby, Perl, PHP, Python, JavaScript, C#, all this. RC also supports, because this feature came from RC only to WebDriver. So that's all these are common features. WebDriver supports multiple browsers, all latest, but RC doesn't support this Ghost and Edge browsers, and these are the latest browsers, and that supports by WebDriver. And WebDriver supports multiple operating systems like Windows, Linux, Mac, and RC supports multiple operating systems. Same, these features are same. WebDriver supports multiple built-in frameworks. RC also supports built-in frameworks. So these are some common, but unique features are till 5 only. So these are the unique features for each of them, but remaining all are common features. Yes, these, when they merged, all these features came to WebDriver only. And what are the limitations of WebDriver? WebDriver has no built-in commands that automatically generates a test result file. Once you run your test cases, you need to get a result, right? That automatic result generation is not there. And WebDriver report is very bad. So you need to depend on third-party tools to generate the report. And another thing is, and it doesn't support Windows-based application. Even if you get a window pop-up, in the web application, that also doesn't support. But we have to use some techniques to handle them. So that I'll show you how to do that. So that's another drawback of Selenium. And another thing is, there are some limitations with the Selenium code. Selenium, you cannot automate everything. So what are those limitations is, so bitmap comparison is not possible using Selenium. Automating CAPTCHA, I don't know how many of you are aware of CAPTCHA. This CAPTCHA automation is not possible. We cannot read barcodes using Selenium. So these are all the limitations. These scenarios you cannot automate with WebDriver. Okay, so these points you can mention in this. They will ask what are the limitations, which scenarios you cannot automate. You can tell these points. And there are some challenges while automating your test scripts using Selenium. What are all those challenges? The first one is pop-up windows. So pop-up windows are in the web pages, you will receive the pop-ups on the screen. So those pop-up windows, so these can be alert category type, right? Using JavaScript, they will be developed. And if you don't use proper alert mechanism, and it's not possible to handle them. Otherwise, your test script will fail there only. So, but Selenium providing some alert interface and their methods they are giving, Using that alert, dismiss and accept method they are providing, using that you can handle these pop-up windows. So that's a one challenge. Basically in the WebDriver web pages, you will get a pop-ups. So there are two different type of pop-ups are there. Windows pop-ups, web pop-ups. Windows pop-ups are alerts. Those are written in the JavaScript code. So when it comes to click on something, you will get a window alert. If you are not handling them, it won't allow you to do action in other elements. There are web pop-ups. Web pop-ups are designed by HTML only. You don't have a problem. You can again directly can switch to that window. That's another window it will create, and you can handle that. Here also, Selenium is providing alert method, and that method will switch that to that alert, and then you can call either accept or dismiss methods, and it will be handled these pop-ups. That's one concept. This is the one challenge in the automation. When you get a pop-up, you need to decide it's a Windows pop-up, web pop-up. So you need to decide that, and you have to take care of that alerts. That's a bit tricky concept, that one, and we'll see that how to switch to that alerts, then how to handle them. So identifying a dynamic elements. Another challenge is identifying a dynamic elements. So many websites nowadays developing a dynamic elements. That means they are generating a random IDs, random name, attribute values. Such cases, handling them is a bit complicated. Handling them is a bit complicated, right? So those dynamically changing elements you can handle with the XPath and CSS concepts. That first you have to tell the problem, the challenge. So in the web pages, there are dynamically changing web elements provided. So those dynamically changing web elements, how can we handle is using dynamic XPath and dynamic CSS selector concept. You can handle them. First challenge, then how can you solve? That's a they are expecting from you. So the challenge is dynamic elements, identifying the dynamic elements. That's one challenge. Then how can you solve? Using XPath and dynamic CSS selectors you can use to handle them. Like contains, so starts with, ends with, you can use to handle those dynamically changing web elements. And third one is timeout or synchronization issue. So basically in the pages, your test cases mostly fails because of synchronization issue. So they are not getting a proper time to load the page. So WebDriver doesn't wait. Basically, WebDriver doesn't wait for the element or page. And what we need to do, if you are not waiting and WebDriver is not waiting, and automatically your test case will fail. WebDriver quickly looking for the element, and by the time WebDriver looking, the page is not loaded. Maybe page is still loading. So loading means the elements are not loaded properly. Such cases, WebDriver reports, I couldn't find this element. So 80% of your test cases will fail because of the synchronization issue. Synchronization issue means, so there is no syncing between tool and the web page. So that is the reason your test cases will fail. WebDriver is very fast and web page is loading slowly. Such cases, the synchronization issues will arise. And then how can we solve this? To solve them, what you can do, we have a synchronization commands in the WebDriver, like explicit wait and implicit wait are there. So these things will tell WebDriver, hey WebDriver, wait until my element is visible, until my element is present, until my page loads. You can instruct the WebDriver, and it will stop there. That's the synchronization commands you can use using explicit wait. We'll discuss that. All explicit wait and implicit wait means what? The difference. Okay, but understand first, the issue is synchronization issue, timeout issue. Then how can you solve that? You can use implicit wait, fluent waits, and explicit waits. Those are available in the Selenium. Using them, you can handle this synchronization issue. Next, cross-browser testing. What is meant by cross-browser testing? Testing the application on different browsers. And that Selenium supports a cross-browser testing widely, because your automation test cases, you can run on different browsers using Selenium. And also it supports multiple browsers and operating systems. And in one browser it may work, other browser it will fail. Then how can you handle? This is the very common issue you will face in the automation. So you need to analyze why it is failing, what reason it is failing. You have to analyze. So to make sure that your web application works well in all the browsers. If you are not able to solve that problem, it's going to be a problem, right? And what you can do, so you run your test cases on different browsers, operating system combination multiple times. Then analyze those results if anywhere failing. So one time if you run, you cannot analyze that. Make sure you run multiple times, and then if it fails on some browsers, then you have to change the locator strategy. Locator strategy means if you're using CSS and that is not working, or ID or name you are using, it's not working, you have to change for XPath or CSS. I have given so many XPath formulas and CSS formulas, and you can give those locator strategy proper one, which is working for all the browsers. You have to change the locator strategy to solve this cross-browser issue and check which one is working in all the browsers, right? That's how to solve the cross-browser issue. Mobile applications. Selenium allows us to test web applications on any operating system and browser. Any browser you can run your test cases. But when it comes to mobile application testing, it cannot work with operating system like Android and iOS. Because mobile application means you have to run on Android and iOS, right? So that is the reason it is not going to support. But it cannot be tested in a mobile Safari browser on your iPhone or Android phone, right? Selenium doesn't support the Safari browser on the iPhone, Android, so these browsers. So there is an alternative solution for this is Appium. So Appium is an open source automation testing framework which uses a same WebDriver concept here also. To run your native, hybrid, and iOS, Android mobile applications can be tested using this Appium. So that's the how to handle mobile applications with WebDriver. Appium WebDriver tool you can use. The Appium is a tool name. Like WebDriver is one tool, right? But in the Appium also same WebDriver protocol is used here. So that's the how to test mobile applications. So page loading. We already discussed it on the top. Page loading is, I think it's a duplicate. A synchronization or timeout issue, right? The same one here we are showing again. So as we mentioned already, in timeout or synchronization issue, I told you the web page is going to take some time to load completely. All the elements will take some time to load, right? And if you're not handling the synchronization commands or synchronization issues, if you're not adding, then the test case will fail. So in order to handle those synchronization issues, you have to use explicit wait commands to provide elements enough time to load, and then Selenium can find them. It will do action on that. That's basically you have to wait for the page to load completely. And scalability. Scalability means, so because Selenium is an open source platform, Selenium allows you to test almost on every browser and operating system. But there are still limitations on the number of tests you can run at once with Selenium. So because using Selenium Grid, you can execute your test cases on the number of hub and node configurations you have done in the Jenkins server. Basically, how many nodes you configure to the hub. Based on that only you can run your test cases parallelly. Suppose if you configure 50 machines or 10 machines or 20 machines, those 10 suits you can run parallelly, not more than that. But you can run one by one ladder, but parallelly you can run only 10 suits. How many nodes you configure to the hub, based on that, you can run your test cases. So that's a grid is providing that feature for the WebDriver. So parallelly you can run your test cases based on the number of nodes configured to the hub. So this is the one scalability means it will provide number of nodes. Based on that you can run number of test cases parallel. So multi-tab testing, like multi-tabs, we open multiple tabs, right? Like that, one tab to other tab if you want to move. And if you are not sure about this concept, multiple tabs concept, each tab is one window. Each tab is one window. If you don't know that concept, and then it results a problem. And then your test cases will fail. How to come back? For example, you are handling two windows, two tabs, or two windows, two new windows. So you are handling. Suppose you are in the parent window, you want to switch to child window. From child window, and you are not switching to parent window, you close it directly. Then cursor doesn't come to parent window. You have to explicitly call that. Then only it will help. If you are not calling, then it doesn't help. You should call that. Okay. So that's this multi-tab testing. So how to handle this? I'll tell you. So how to handle this? We have a switch to window method is there. Switch to method and window method, and you will pass window ID for each window. There is ID. That ID you need to get it, and that ID you will pass it to window method as an argument. Then it will go to that window, and you can perform the actions on that window. And you close that window, you can come back to parent window. That's how we can do that. That I'll tell you. This is all very important concepts. So this is nothing but my web pop-ups. So web pop-ups are web windows, how to handle this concept. So limited reporting. As I mentioned, Selenium has a drawback about reports. It doesn't have a capabilities to provide the report after running your test cases. So you cannot generate a report directly with the Selenium. You have to depend on the TestNG or some other third-party tools to get the proper report. That's a limitation. But we can get Selenium reports using TestNG, and also you can use extent reports are there. Using that, you can do that. Another one, limited CAPTCHA handling. So CAPTCHA, I don't know, let me show you how many of you know CAPTCHA. In the images, there are text will be there. That's a CAPTCHA. This is the one. This is the CAPTCHA. The image inside, you have a text. The text you need to type it. But you have to read this text, right? Selenium cannot read them directly. So that's a problem. Okay. So that Selenium cannot handle this. That's a problem with Selenium. And there is no, if you want to do that, you have to read the text from the image and then you can type it. For reading that text from image, you have to use a lot of libraries, and then you can read, and then you can ask Selenium to type there in the edit box. So that's going to be a bigger problem here. You cannot do that 100%. Supports only web-based applications. As I mentioned, it supports only web-based applications. No Windows applications are tested with Selenium, right? These are the all level challenges. And the architecture. So before going to that, okay, yeah, let's finish. This is the architecture of WebDriver. There are 4 components are there in this WebDriver. Selenium client libraries, JSON wire protocol, browser driver classes, real browsers. These are the 4 components are there in the Selenium WebDriver. So Selenium client libraries, these are all the one: Ruby, C#, Java, JavaScript, and Ruby, Python. So there's some duplicates are there, but Python, all these are the programming languages. So in each programming language is used to design WebDriver APIs. So in the browser itself, they designed. Each browser class inside the APIs are developed. So let's see here one by one. These are the components. Selenium client libraries and language bindings. Selenium supports multiple libraries: Java, Ruby, Python, JavaScript, C#. So Selenium developers have developed the language bindings to allow Selenium to support multiple languages. That's this. So you can check this all the different language bindings the Selenium supports. You go to downloads. Can you all go and download this Selenium, this Selenium client and WebDriver language bindings, because we need anyhow. So open this, download and place this. Click on download, and it will download the zip file. Place in one C or a D drive. Create a folder Selenium WebDriver bindings. Create a folder and download it. So tomorrow we are going to use this. Just unzip that after downloading. Okay, these are all the different language bindings: Ruby, Java, Python, C#, JavaScript. These are the different language bindings. Okay, so that's what we are talking here. And JSON wire protocol. What is JSON? JSON is a JavaScript object notation. It is used to transfer the data between client and server on the web. So JSON wire protocol is a REST API that transfers the information between HTTP server and client. So that's the JSON means. What the JSON will do. Here you see that this is the one. So the data will transfer which language you are using to write your test cases, right? That language API will be converted into JSON format. That JSON file will be given to HTTP server. This is the HTTP server. So every browser class is one HTTP server. So that browser inside you have all the methods, right? That will talk to the real browser, that means application, and does the action there, and response will come back to you. So this is the process how the code execution will happen for us. Every command what you are writing in the UI, that will be converted into JSON format, and then that command will send to real browser, and the action will perform there, and it will come back to you. The response will come back to you. So this is the concept of JSON wire protocol and WebDriver concept. So browser drivers. Each browser contains separate browser driver class. Separate browser driver class. Each browser, one browser class is there. Browser driver class. Chrome driver class is there. Firefox driver is the class name. Safari driver. Edge driver. Internet Explorer driver. Opera driver. So these are all the browser. Each browser, one driver class is there. Browser name, driver keyword will add. That's the class name. If somebody asks the class name, you need to tell Chrome driver for Chrome browser, Safari driver for Safari browser. So like this, you can use all these different browser classes. Okay, so that's the browser drivers. And these browser drivers communicate with the respective browser without revealing the internal logic of the browser functionality. You're not going to reveal, because all these are interfaces. WebDriver is an interface. What will happen? The methods are declared in the WebDriver interface and implemented in the each browser class. That will come tomorrow. I'll explain that. Okay. And when a browser driver is received any command, then that command will be executed on the respective browser, and the response will go back in the form of HTTP response. So that's the how the code will execute. So in the browsers, we have so many browsers it supports, right? So let's see, this is the code you will write like this: interface the variable equal to new Chrome driver. Then if you write this reference variable dot get, the code you write like this. You are opening the google.com on this browser, Chrome browser. So what will happen? This will be converted into JSON format like this. It will convert into JSON format. In the UI, you are writing like this code, but in the backend and JSON format, it will convert that command. This command will convert into JSON format. Then WebDriver HTTP server will understand this JSON format, and it will ask for open that URL and perform the action on the web application. So once the action is, if the request is a post request, then there will be action on the browser. If the request is a get request, then you are requesting some info from the browser. The meaning of get to post request, these are all. So this is how WebDriver architecture and how it will work. Okay. So tomorrow we'll see how to install the WebDriver and configure in the Eclipse. Then please download this, everyone. The Java bindings. You download this one. Click on download, and that zip file you will get. That zip file you place in the one folder, then unzip it. Okay. So this task you complete and come tomorrow. We'll configure in the Eclipse our Selenium WebDriver. I'll show you how to do that.